Hi, I'm Vance, and welcome to Repair and Replace. Many refrigerators have a water dispenser. If the dispenser isn't working, then it could be one of several problems. In this episode, first, we'll learn how it all works. Then we'll test the water valve with a multimeter. Finally, we'll test the dispenser microswitch. This applies to some bottom freezer and side-by-side refrigerators. The water dispenser has several basic parts. There's usually one or more valves mounted near the compressor. This may include a valve for the water filter, one for the dispenser, and another for the ice maker. When the microswitch is triggered, power is sent to the solenoid, which opens the water valve. Water flows through the tubes and in some models to the water filter and water reservoir before it's dispensed from the nozzle. A pinched water line, an ice blockage, or a clogged filter can all prevent water from flowing through the system. Additionally, a faulty solenoid or microswitch can prevent the valves from opening. To begin, you might need a screwdriver or nut driver, an adjustable wrench, and a multimeter. You might also need a bucket, plastic container, and a cloth. Keep in mind there is some variation between models, and not all refrigerators will have the same parts. You can enter your model number on the AMRE Supply website to see a parts breakdown. This can be helpful to show you which parts are in your refrigerator and where they are located. In some cases, a clogged water filter can prevent the dispenser from working, so it's best to install a new filter. Some models use a water reservoir. If the fridge is too cold, then ice can form inside the line. Check for any blockages. To melt the ice, you can use a hairdryer or a heat gun on a low setting. Also, it can be helpful to raise the temperature of the fridge compartment. As well, check the line that supplies water to the dispenser. Make sure that the line is not pinched by the door. First, slide the refrigerator out from the wall. When there is enough room, unplug the cord to disconnect the power. In some models, you might need to remove the water supply line to gain access to the back. Close the shutoff valve to turn off the water supply. Next, use an adjustable wrench to loosen and remove the supply line. Let any remaining water drain into a plastic container. Now, slide the fridge all the way out so you have plenty of room to work. On the back of the refrigerator is an access panel. Use a 1/4 inch nut driver to remove the screws. Now simply lift up to remove the panel. It's best to check if there's sufficient water pressure. Place the end of the water line into a small bucket. Now open the shutoff valve. There should be a steady stream of water. If the flow is weak, then check the line to see if there are any blockages. If the water pressure is still low, then it's best to call a plumber. At the back of the refrigerator is the water valve assembly. The valve is controlled by a solenoid. When the coil is energized, the magnetic field pulls a small pin which opens the valve. We can test the solenoid for continuity. A continuity test will determine if there's a continuous path for electricity to flow through. Without continuity, the solenoid will not work. It's best to take a picture of the wires for reference. Now disconnect the wire harness. In some models, you might have to unscrew the assembly to test the wire terminals directly. Set the multimeter to the ohms or resistance setting. Trace the wires to the connector. Now touch the probes to both terminals. There should be continuity with a resistance reading between 100 and 500 ohms. Repeat the test for each solenoid. If the resistance is significantly off, or if there is no reading and no continuity, then the valve is faulty and will need to be replaced. Disconnect any additional wires. Now unscrew the valve from the mount. This will give you more room for your hands. If needed, remove the plastic retainers. To remove each water line, you'll have to press down on the locking tab. Let any water drain into the container. Now remove the water valve. Take the new valve and push each water line into the appropriate connector. If needed, reinstall the plastic retainers. Align the valve onto the bracket and tighten the screws. Finally, reconnect the wires. First, remove the display module. In some models, this will be held in by screws. Other models will snap into place. You can use a flat blade screwdriver to help release the panel. Now, take a picture of the wires for reference. Next, disconnect the wires. Now remove the display module. In most cases, the microswitch can be tested while it's still mounted in place. First, disconnect the wires. Now set your multimeter to the ohms or resistance setting. Touch the probes to each terminal. The switch is normally open and should have no resistance and no continuity. When you press the switch closed, it should have a resistance between 0 and 1 ohm. This is continuity. Repeat the test for the other switch. If there is no resistance and no continuity, then the switch is faulty and should be replaced. To remove the dispenser assembly, you'll have to disconnect the wires. Now remove the mounting screws. Next, remove the assembly. The microswitch is usually held in by several mounting screws. Loosen the screws and remove the switch. Align the new microswitch and tighten the screws. Align the dispenser assembly onto the mount. Now tighten the screws. Next, reconnect the wires. If needed, align the tube into the mount. reconnect the wire harness. Align the display module onto the mount. Now tighten the screws. If needed, replace the outer panel. Align the back panel onto the mounting tabs. Now tighten the screws. Reconnect the water supply and tighten the connection. Open the shutoff valve. Plug in the cord to reconnect the power. Now slide it back into place. Make sure to leave a couple of inches of space between the refrigerator and the wall. This will allow for proper airflow. Now test the refrigerator to see if it's working properly. If you've eliminated all other problems and it's still not working, then it could be an issue with the dispenser control board. This replacement will follow the same steps it took to access the microswitch. You can see this in more detail in the video linked below. If you like this and want to see more tutorials and informational videos, then subscribe to our channel. And if you need help, you can call or visit an AMRE location to talk with our knowledgeable staff. Thanks for watching.